What's up, everyone? It's John here at Two Dark Tribal MTG. I'm just going to be playing the second half of the league that we started last night with Azorius Caw-Blade for Pauper. So this is our deck that focuses on Squadron Hawk, Brainstorm, has a Trinket Mage, Artifact Tutor package, and is also playing Faeries. But what I think this list may eventually be known for is the use of Resculpt in the main board. As we saw last night, it's an absolute house, fantastic game player. We're just going to finish out this league here, see if we can pick up a 4-1. I'm really excited about how well this deck did last night. The game against Mardu Monarch last night, against the deck that was playing the Artifact Lands and Thraben Inspectors, was just an insane match. Yeah, I also want to point out, I think in this game that we lost, yeah, we had to keep a hand. We basically took him to the edge of it with a hand that was just Squadron Hawk, Journey to Nowhere, and a couple lands, which is pretty insane. Playing against Sidene Raken. And this looks like a fine hand. So I can Tranquil Cove, and then the next turn I can cycle Ash Barrens off Tranquil Cove, get an island to play the Faeries here. And our mana is all set for the rest of the game. Okay, it looks like he's a Storm deck, so we're going to need it. Do I still want to cycle Ash Barrens? I do, but now I can do it with my 1 mana that's up. I don't think either of these cards are going to matter. And I kind of want to present a beatdown, so I'm going to go with this path instead. And then assuming he doesn't combo this turn. That is not what I want to see. Okay, so it didn't combo that turn. Let's go ahead and fetch another island. Then next turn we can start doing life staff things. I'm assuming this is a storm list. These lands have to sacrifice themselves after you remove the second counter. I don't think I counter the Rite of Flame. I've played up against a number of mana against these storm lists that are trying to resolve Chatterstorm. And I think the best target is normally Manamorphose. Although that looks like it's the best target for this particular match. Okay, he did have the relay. He hit. The ritual is going to be annoying. Okay, well, we do have 2 pieces of interaction, which is pretty big. Let's get this life staff on board. I mean, we know for a fact he's going to go for it again. I think what we need to counter is the ball ritual. Or if he goes for a first day of class, that's definitely our hit. No, we're going after Cabal Ritual. He can still Chatterstorm now, it's just worse. I kind of wishing I'd hit the first day of class now, but it is what it is. Wow. I guess it didn't matter. This is a pretty insane showing from this Storm deck. I think that was just about the best hand I could have kept. And here he is making 8 3/3 squirrels. Okay, so we know we want these, we know we want these. I'm just bringing in all of my interaction that's relevant here. I don't think we're going to cast a Palace Sentinels. I don't think we're going to cast a Trinket Mage. I don't think my equipment are going to matter. He's not running artifact lands. I think I just want to run it like this. Oh, I need one more card. A single Trinket Mage, just to fetch a land. I think Bone Splitter's the play. Yeah, we just need to get on top of his storm turn. So this does have two pieces of interaction, which I like. The Bone Splitter is a little awkward, but the fact that it has good mana is huge. His list is pretty good. The main deck Duress is new technology. And then every single card in his hand was good too. Nice. Okay, I think we're gonna be funny and go Island to Bone Splitter, hold up Dispel. Okay, more interaction is good. So the instant that I'm interested in hitting out of his deck is Manamorphose. Turn you into a 4/4. And we at least have a clock. It's a little funky, but I actually want to counter this. Since he tapped this for mana and didn't sack it. Wow. He just had a hit after hit. Some awkward tension here. I want to fire the Brainstorm and hit another mana source, but I can't really afford to miss. This may be incorrect, but I'm going to go like this. We just have to make sure that we fade his next combo turn. Counter these. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but the cat's crying at the door. Okay, it looks like we drew exactly what we would have wanted here. Pretty awkward brainstorm. Let's put back Journey, second brainstorm. And then if I can just deal with the squirrels on this next turn, I think we're set. I mean, he has to get a lot of storm off of one land and 5 cards. Okay, he is going for it, though. Don't have anything for Manamorphose. Wow, is that the third one we've seen? There's no duress. I think if we don't see a duress, we're fine. Yeah, there he is. I got nothing for that. Wow, another one. Okay, picked up game 2. Yeah, the resculpt really showing how good it was there. Our opponent was on his back foot that whole game, partially due to being mana screwed, but partially due to resculpt just beating him down for 4 every turn. That was a really good show for this deck. Raven Inspector, a little bit of an awkward draw. It's definitely the worst creature in the deck, but it's a very important role player. Wow. We're gonna have a hard time stabilizing here. Yeah, if I can find some interaction off this brainstorm. Oh, that's perfect. I guess I should say off this ponder. I want the Faeries Seer the least. Well, let's just hope he needs one more turn of setup. Oh, what do I do here? I'm gonna fire off the brainstorm, see if I can get to some juice. We are not drawing anything good. Okay, so I'm sort of awkwardly stuck holding up these spell stutters. I guess I do have the Dispel. I don't know how much I want to lean on that. I guess the answer is completely. Let's go for completely. Yeah, I definitely think we're losing this Storm game. So the reason I'm going for this is because he doesn't really run any 1-mana spells that I care about that aren't the Storm cards. And Dispel hits effectively all of those. Yeah, some awkward hands here. That is a lot of mana. I mean, I guess that's something that I could have spell stuttered. I don't know, maybe I should have countered that. It doesn't seem like a good counter to me. I'm really hopeful this is a relay turn. Yeah, because he could have cast all of these spells anyways. I mean, he's literally still floating black, right? Yeah, that's what I want to counter. He's had 2 of those every single other game, though. So I'm curious if we're going to see another one here, too. So the Storm counter just showed up, which I think means that he just drew Shatterstorm off of that last star. It's a relay. I think we hit the right thing there. He wasn't incentivized to go for it that turn because he wasn't getting hasty squirrels anymore. I think that was huge. Can I hold up Spell Stutter? What would I counter here? I don't know. I'm asking. That's my only game plan. I wish I had a hard counter. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 mana he wants of any color. And we can only counter 1 mana spells. I'm guessing he's going to lead on this duress. Well, it's awkward and feels bad, but I think we have to counter this because we're not countering anything else. We're also not countering this. Gut Shot is a really cool tech from this deck. Okay, I'm just gonna auto pass. Didn't try quite what we needed this time. So last time we had a fistful of interaction. This time we had a fistful of interaction, but it was a little bit too expensive, and we were missing our land drops. I'd be curious in the replay to see if there was something that I did that could have gone differently. if I put a land on the bottom on one of these ponders, or I guess on the ponder. I have just shuffled the ponder to find a land. We haven't seen a first day of class, so maybe he's making 9 squirrels and they're not hasty. He does still have 5 cards in hand, which is a lot. I'm all about non-hasty squirrels. I can have a turn to deal with those. Okay. Well, it's down to this top deck. It needs to be exactly echoing truth. Okay, that is not exactly echoing truth. Can I deploy enough blockers to not die immediately? If I have 2 blockers, I block these 2 squirrels, and I still take 22. I don't think that quite gets us there. I do want a Fairy Seer just to see what we were going to draw. That doesn't do it. That doesn't do it. And good game opponent. Okay, so kind of some rough games against Chatterstorm. This has been twice now where we just had a little bit of an awkward opening hand. I don't think those hands are indicative of the fact that like, the deck's bad or something. It is worth noting that we are not all interaction, right? We have some interaction, but we also have a proactive game plan, which is, I think, a huge boon for this deck. It's why I think this is doing well, whereas a deck like Is It Fairies is doing a little less well at the current moment in time. But there's definitely some flaws to that game plan, right? There's basically 2 decks in the format right now that require you to be all interaction. You have to interact with them every single turn, or you're going to lose. Those being Affinity and Chatterstorm. And we played against both of those in this league. They are the 2 marquee decks of the format. And I think they were still pretty good, pretty close games. As a wise man once said, sometimes opponent just has it. Little awkward, but I have a lot of selection here, so I'm actually inclined to keep this hand. Let's find out what our opponent is on. I would bet my right leg that this is burn. There are always so many people playing burn in Pauper Leagues, I swear. Okay, hit the land. Our main deck game against burn is not amazing. So we have the Sylvac Lifestaff, which looks like it shores up this matchup. In actuality, it doesn't really get there. Lifestaff is best against opponents who are playing chunky creature decks. Interesting main deck card. Must be playing against a lot of Fairies lately. Okay, and now we have our choice of Counterspell or Spellstutter Sprite for the next turn. We're also notably very dead to this Thermo Alchemist if we can't deal with it shortly. I don't think that's the thing I want to counter. I think whatever he plays next is what I want to counter. Okay, and I can in fact counter this one. Another spell stutter might get there. I need to deal with this Thermo Alchemist time now. Can't really let that resolve. That would have been taking 2 a turn off this Thermo Alchemist, which would have been, I think, pretty backbreaking. Hopefully he just misses his land. Nice. Wow, that was a pretty lucky draw. Yeah, let's put him back like that. And let's get rid of the Thermo Alchemist. And I feel pretty confident with 2 more counterspells in hand. We do need to close this game out pretty quickly, though. They're Alchemist. Don't like you. I think he's deciding whether or not he wants to Fire Blast us. I think Major's going to hang out in the hand. You're a little too slow for this game. Okay, so we have Counterspell and Resculpt that we're going to play this turn. I think that's the sign to Resculpt. Okay, Rift Bolt's going to come upstairs next turn. Another Resculpt, nice. Okay, well the good news is I don't think it's right to fight over this. If he has double Fire Blast, we're dead. That doesn't do it. Let's see what his last card is. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're doing it. I can't tell you the last time I won game 1 against Burn. I just cannot tell you the last time. That was awesome. These, I want these. I want these. Don't want these. Don't want these. Oh, I'm like looking for other things to make the list line up, but it already perfectly lines up. Okay, so then we are going to have 3, 4, 5. pieces of interaction here. 4 pieces of life gain, 4, 5. Oh, I should include all these. And then everything else that we have in our deck is basically just a cheap threat that hopefully is able to close out the game. Core Homunculus is pretty awkward here. I think I'd honestly rather have the life staff and go down the Homunculus. Just because the only artifacts that we're going to keep are the artifact lands. Let's give this a shot. I think if we're going to win this game, it's going to be with a deck built like this. I don't think this hand gets there. It's just too slow. I'm not playing anything for 2 turns, basically. This is better. We're at least leading off on some early life gain and holding up a Dispel. Yeah, so here I can fetch white with Evolving Wilds, play Island, play Lone Missionary. For those not aware, Burn is a turn 4 deck. So if you can't deal with what Burn's doing by turn 4, you're going to lose the game. When they have slower hands, it's still, turn 5. Something to keep in mind when you're playing against somebody who's going to bolt your face a bunch. You really have a small window to interact with them, so you need 1 or 2 mana spells that do something positive. I'm going to exile this. It just represents so much damage over the number of turns that it's in play that I think it's worth getting rid of. Okay. Well, the good news is we have enough mana. The bad news is we don't have a lot of spells that are super relevant in our hand right now. We had to counter 3 burn spells last turn to stabilize. Did he mulligan? Double Rift bolted next turn. Can't do anything about that. Let's go ahead and get this Lone Missionary down, get some life gain. Oh, wow, I tapped my land wrong. Okay, let's hope I don't get punished too bad for that. I should have left up a blue. Yeah. They go to face. Yep, that's fine. That is more than fine. Okay, so I don't think I need both because I think he's a long ways away from any sort of proactive game plan. I'm going to leave up double blue here. And then I'd like to spell stutter, but I anticipate I may actually be dispelling. Yeah, so the thing with burn is that you actually have to kill them, or they're just going to keep drawing more spells that go face. Which is part of why Lone Missionary is favorite over just spells that say, like, gain 8 life. Because they can't always just attack you with their creatures, right? I should have brought in a Disenchant or 2 for those. That's a beating. Okay, so now we're on a clock. Shuffle for good luck. Okay, and then we have Dispel and Spell Stutter. Another Rift Bolt. Spell Stutter that. Take our 1. Ancient Den, huh? Let's go Bird. I'm just shuffling because it's easier to click through the menu that way. It doesn't actually matter. Obviously, you wouldn't you wouldn't shuffle like that if you were playing paper Magic. How fast are we killing him? We're doing 7 a turn, so we have 2 turns. He has 2 turns. Can't counter that. The spell can hit Fire Blast and Lightning Bolt. Lava Runner. I will be jumping this. Because blocking that doesn't change our clock at all, but it does change his. Oh, another spell stutter. That feels good. Okay, I think we actually locked this game out. That was a really good set of draws. We have some nice interaction in our hand. I actually think I'm not going to block this time. I guess he attacked. Yeah, just in case he's dealing with our Squadron Hawks. So he only has to deal 9. 8, 7. He has to deal 7 to us this turn. Which has to involve a Fire Blast. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, so we got our money back. And that's the end of the league. I beat Burn, which is exciting. It's, like I said, it's been a long time since I've beaten Burn naturally. And we ended up taking this deck to a pretty solid little 3-2 finish. And both of our games that we didn't win, I think were very draw dependent, and I think looked very winnable on the surface. So what am I impressed with in this list? I am crazy impressed with Resculpt. I think that card is just an absolute house. You saw that it basically shut the door against Burn that first game. We were able to sort of aggro them out rather than getting aggroed out by the deck that runs, you know, basically 16 copies of Lightning Bolt and creatures that synergize with it. I think we have the right number of cantrips. The problem with cantrips in a meta that's as fast as this one is that while you want to be casting like your Ponder and Brainstorm, they actually slow the speed of the game down so much that you maybe bump into some trouble because you're like cantripping to find your interaction in your lands rather than just casting your spells. Because when you're playing a Chatterstorm, like we just saw, those are like turn 4 wins. You really need to be proactively casting your spells. I think the Disenchants and the Dust to Dust feel excellent. I was running a different card other than Disenchant for a while. I was running an Exile Target Artifact. Sorry, it's a destroy target artifact and you gain life equal to its converted mana cost, which was a really good target their Mirror Enforcer gain 7 effect. But I think Disenchant is important because otherwise this deck has no game against enchantments. And I'd like to not just insta lose to Boggles. I'd like to be able to hit their Ancestral Mask. Relic did nothing this league, sort of as anticipated. 3 Echoing Truth is good. I used to run a 4th Echoing Truth. I think I actually cut an Echoing Truth and added a Resculpt. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if I want all 4. Don't think it would have been relevant to any of our Chatterstorm games, although it's impossible to tell because we didn't draw it. Didn't see the Ephemerate in action. The Ephemerate's less clunky than it looks. It does a similar thing to Resculpt, but you can also use it to counter spells with Spell Stutter, and you can also use it to fetch the second equipment with Trinket Mage. It's just a huge value piece, and it's something that I'd like to be able to showcase with this deck in the future. Well, every game in this league was fast, right? We played Burn, which is fast. We played Shatterstorm, which is fast, and we played Affinity, which is fast. And then we played one slow deck, and we absolutely destroyed Marty Monarch. I don't think that was a particularly close game. So Palace Sentinels, accidentally just cut one. So Palace Sentinels is here for the slower games. If we're playing against like Dimir Delver is the easiest example. They're trying to 1-for-1 us. They're trying to play a lot of targeted removal that kills one of our creatures. Palace Sentinels and 3-Man Inspector really shine in those games because these are creatures that are inherently 2-for-1s. Our Squadron Hawk is a creature that's sort of inherently a 2-for-1. Trinket Mage is a 2-for-1, and Spellstutter Sprite's a 2-for-1. So when you look at our creatures list, you start realizing that maybe we have a lot of game against decks that want to go into the late game as well. The only thing that really beats us up from the Faeries lists and the Delver lists is Cannonade and the mass board wipes that Black has, but otherwise, if we can manage to fade that or counter those spells, we're very much so stable. Mostly because we're just drawing more cards than they are, right? The only thing that Izzet Faeries really has that draws a lot of cards is the Ninja. We have Journey of Nowhere specifically for Ninja, and Journey to Nowhere only hits Ninja in that deck list. But we can also clock them, which has come up in a lot of my games when I play against Izzet. They tend to be a slower, more reactive deck. We're more of a proactive deck. And I've definitely taken people out with a Resculpt on a 3-Man Inspector Clue, just because of the speed at which we're presenting damage. So here it is. It's blue-white Caw-Blade in Pauper. This is a pet deck of mine. I've been working on it for many months now, and just trying to tweak and refine the numbers to get it to a place where it's really competitive. I appreciate any comments on the list, and especially on the sideboard. I am not a Pauper sideboard wizard, but I do really like where the main deck is right now, and I think that we have a lot of game against a lot of the decks of the format. Especially right now while Affinity's huge. I think I was really impressed with what Dust to Dust did against Affinity, really in all of the games that we played against them, right? It was always blowing up a threat and getting rid of a land or taking out 2 big threats. And it's just an excellent complement to Journey to Nowhere to kind of round out a removal suite against the deck that's slamming 4-4 after 4-4 after 4-4 after a creature that combos with Fling. So yeah, this is the deck. Give me comments. Looking forward to playing more leagues with this deck and decks like it in the future. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Yeah, go ahead. Take care.